Africa 55, presenting authentic insights and commentary on African matters. Your host is Maureen Wangati Gnagbo, evaluation expert, founder and CEO of the A55. Karibuni.
Karibuni watazamaji wa A55 Group. Welcome viewers of the A55 media platform. Africa 55 is a Pan-Africanist platform that was formed by a group of people who wanted to highlight and project the African voice on the continent and in the diaspora. Today we are privileged to have Father Paul Otieno from the Consolata Missionary, Consolata Shrine in Kisumu County. You can see where he is seated there. It's nice and bright and the sunny out there. So Father Paul is a communication specialist, a key member of the Africa 55 group and a founder. And he's also multilingual, quite an interesting person to listen to. So Father Paul, without any further ado, welcome to the show. And of course, my name is Maureen Wangati Gnagbo, your host. So, Father Paul, what is happening with the church? You're deathly silent on the matters. You can see I'm out in the county of Mombasa, and you can see the issues going on. Can you tell us your views? We're really desperate to hear from the church and from you, the leaders.
All right, a disclaimer generally, since I'm not one who is authorized to speak on behalf of the church, so my word cannot be taken like the church stand is this, but this is my opinion as one of the members of the church, and obviously as a priest in the Catholic Church, no?
Noted, noted, sir.
The church is quite alive in the situation of the corona. In the situation we are living, the quite is church alive. Even though in the beginning, if you can remember, in the beginning we were typed as or linked as the weakest link in the whole thing. We were the agents of death and everything. Like the church was not following what the government was saying. But then in the church, I think it will be unfair to say the church is dead, the church is silent. The church is quite active in different ways, in different forms, accompanying people in different ways possible. And take into consideration that now most of our Christians, the congregants, are not with us. And they are in their places, and there is this curfews, the restrictions of movement. So that also curtails a lot the accompaniment that we can give. But we are really present in the situation and in the life of the people in which they are living. So I think it will be a too much harsh judgment of the church to say that is silent is not there, in my view. So there are several ways, which later you can see which ways.
Yes, allow me perhaps to rephrase. Can we say perhaps that the church is not as visible as it used to be? For example, every Sunday we would see the church on TV, and other days of the week. And the church is not as visible as it really used to be. I know of a friend who is already complaining that she hasn't heard from her church just a word. There's probably a higher expectation for the church to be visible on every other week, every day of the week. Although we understand because of the rules of social distancing, you have been forced to go digital. Do you think that has had a problem? Has that been a challenge for you and for your congregants as well, and how?
Obviously, I can't speak for us, the Catholic Church. I think in Kenya, the church that has got less presence in the media as such, in matters of its primary role, which is evangelization and pastoral, is the Catholic Church, compared to our brothers in the evangelical sector who have got television channels, radio, whatever. The Catholic Church is more with the people on the ground there, other than being a televised kind of presence. That is said, but then we have also incorporated the use of technology. We have incorporated the use of technology. We see at least now many priests trying to celebrate Mass online, even though the Mass is with him alone, the so-called in the Catholic Church, the private Mass, because it's only him alone. But then he tries to enter into contact with these congregants, the Christians, those who can possibly have access to internet, which is a challenge everywhere. If it is a challenge for the government, for purposes of education, now imagine the church, what will it be? So it's those who have got the possibility of getting connection online, they have really participated. Just when we were almost celebrating the Easter, I participated in a panel of priests. We are talking about how the church is living this moment. And it was done online, and we were surprised. We were having over 3,000 views of the video and over 300 comments within the 1.5 hours of the presentation. So it means there are quite a number of Christians, who are also online, and they disseminating this information once they receive them. So yes, it is a challenge. It is a new phenomenon for the church, and the church is adapting to it. The church is adapting to it. And by adapting, it's possible. We see the bishop celebrating at least every Sunday. There is a program, Mass at the cathedral in Nairobi, Holy Family Basilica, and different bishops are coming in. They are bishops recording videos, audios, and sending to the Christian through WhatsApp and all this kind of.
Okay. Thank you very much for that clarification, Father Paul. What would you say to those people who say that they do not see or they don't understand what the church is doing in terms of relief efforts? We can see the relief efforts of individual politicians. So, for example, my governor here in Mombasa is very visible on the media with relief efforts for his people. What about the Catholic? What about, for example, should I say church leaders? Let's not call it the church. Church leaders. Would we say that the donations have plunged during the COVID situation? So, for example, I read that the American government is offering to give direct donations to the church to give pastors and priests salaries during this COVID-19 period, and already there's a debate online about that. So, what's your response to that in terms of the relief efforts of the church currently, and also its contribution to mental health and spiritual health of the people?
Now, there are three things we need to kind of separate so that we can get them. One is the politicians. Remember, the politician is a politician at the end of the day. So a politician is much concerned with, do people see what I'm doing? Do people see what I'm doing? For a politician, it's less of charities. There is no logic of charities. Rather, I need to do this thing so that the voters, who are my people, can see I'm doing something. And that's why you see them, they will do all sorts of things. They will donate 20 jerrycans for washing of hands, and they will put there, donated by Honorable for the whatever, because they need that.
They have branded caps.
Exactly. They need that for their political survival. Now, on the other side, the church on the other end is not campaigning for anything, neither does it need to be elected in anything. And that's why the donations and the work the church is doing is silent, is not media-oriented, because we don't do it for the media. I know, as a matter of fact, practically in all the dioceses for the Catholic Church, there is a COVID-19 emergency response team, emergency committee. There is something organized. This is a committee that comes together, pool resources, go to the ground where the people are. For example, here in Kisumu, we have the emergency COVID-19 emergency response team, in which you will find the Caritas. Caritas is the branch or is a part of the Catholic conference that is concerned with matters of social justice, matters of disasters, and all this kind of thing. And Caritas Kisumu is every single day, through the director of the Caritas of Kisumu, Father Nyataya, goes every single day taking food and also going to give a word of encouragement. We not only go to, but at least there is a sharing a bit. We don't celebrate Mass, yes, because otherwise we'll be accused. We went to celebrate Mass and to look for Sadaka, because that will be the next accusation. But at least before you give what we have, which is little, yes, but then we give them a word of encouragement. We share with them. We tell them the church is with you. The church is working with you. Be courageous. Once still now, even in Kisumu, in the whole of the Archdiocese of Kisumu, for example, the problem of floods is also another phenomenon that has just come in. The church is responding to it. But you will never see them in the media. Why? Because it's charity. We are not there to be seen. And so probably that's why the church is being, people say, we don't see the church in matters of charity, in matters of giving, but the church is doing a lot. It's really, really doing a lot. And obviously, the thing of the media and all this kind of stuff, we are also to know that the church depends mostly on these small donations from people. You will not find corporate guys coming with 1 billion, 300 million to give to the emergency COVID-19 emergency response of the church. No, I've not seen. But it is the congregations, the sisters, the Christians, somebody bringing 1 kg of hunger. The other day, a certain lady brought here to give some people of the flood, for example, 2 kgs of rice. Father, can you go and give them and see what it can be done? But that's how the church is. While the big money, the big boys with the big cash will government, because there is also the commercial interest, the political interest, the PR interest. So that is a big challenge for us. So the church will find that is mostly in its territory. If it is Kisumu, the emergency team is more concerned with the Kisumu. The one of Kisii is with Kisii. The one of Nyeri is in Nyeri. The one of, and they have all these things. And even you go to the social, I can invite you, you can go to their social media handles, Like if you check the Caritas Kisumu in Twitter, you check Caritas in Kisumu in YouTube, Caritas in Kisumu in Facebook, plus the Diocese of Nyeri, you are going to see the photos, the videos, and all the work they do.
Yes, okay, that's fine. Then we need to stop castigating the church and start seeing how we can work with the church to provide relief efforts, etc. So looking forward as we wind up.
Just a minute. I think one of the things that I think need to be done is that the social organization, like I can say now we as A55, Africa 55, we kind of like a civil organization. We are not ecclesiastical. We have to understand that the church operates from a different paradigm. It operates from a different optics, and we operate from a different optics. Now, we thus might operate from the optics of being socially, we have to be responsible to the citizen and show them this, what you gave us this money, we did this. While the church is not about showing itself. So I think that optic is different. We can pull together.
So going forward, now, we're hearing a lot of reports of domestic violence, domestic abuse, suicide, depression. What is your commentary about that? What are your views as a church leader, as Father Paul?
Indeed, it has increased a lot. And I'm one person who is really I'm one person who campaigns a lot, even in my homilies. I am a person who is against domestic violence. Under no given circumstance, people should fight and all this. But then you have to understand the kind of context in which we operate and the social structure in which we have. As human beings, and especially in Africa, let us come down to make it African. Like, for example, the male figures in the house. These were not people to be confined. For them, this is a confinement. Maybe the female figures might not have a problem. They're used to being in the house, washing the dishes, doing 1, 2, 3 up and down. The men, no. Now, once that happens, then you are going to find that since the man is also in the house, the woman is in the house, the children in the house, there is a lot of contract. And then you come to realize that people are new to one another. Those who have lived for 15 years, the man and woman tend to find that they are new to one another. And so in this process of being new to one another, there needs to be some readjustment. So it is this readjustment that is causing conflict. So I rather think that to address the violence and all that, we have to understand the stressful nature that especially the male people in the house are undergoing, because they're not used to this kind of life. They're used to living at 6 in the morning and proceeding up to around 10, 11 with colleagues at night, then come back, take something, sleep, and tomorrow at 6 in the morning off again. So I think the best thing that the church is really doing in the moments that we can, even in our online messages and even our WhatsApp groups, we have WhatsApp group like myself, every single day I send out a message of hope, a biblical reflection, telling people be careful with the stress, do a bit of walking, do this kind of thing, get to know one another, take advantage and know one another better for the last 15 years that we have lived,
Wow, that was very enlightening. Thank you so much, Father Otieno. This is wonderful. It's so enlightening and refreshing to hear from you, especially when you talk about gender-based violence and those kinds of social problems that we have in society. You're very open and very outspoken about it, which is very refreshing. Yes. So anyway, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I love your background there. I like your backdrop. And as we were talking, you were telling us, lazima tuende tukapimwe. Do you have a message for the people of Mombasa who are refusing to go for testing?
If you don't go to be checked and tested, we will come for you there now. That I'm not paraphrasing, Joho, please. No, but I think it is good. It is, but then the big thing, by the way, Maureen, one of the things I think I've said it some of articles that I write, the biggest problem that the government is having with this, it is a good thing. That must be said. It is good for people to be tested in mass and all that. It is good. But then we also must accept the fact that the government made some mistakes in its communication, in the packaging of the message, whereby having the disease was seen as you are very careless. That's why you're having this disease. Two, is like quarantine became like, a small confinement. You have to pay this. It's like you are quarantined because you have been careless. And since you are careless, you have gotten the disease, you must pay for your quarantine. So people became like a bit it became a bit kind of a punishment. And so somebody says, now, if I go out to be tested and I'm found positive, then this is what is going to happen. And I think Joho, the governor Joho in Mombasa, tried to correct this narrative, first of all, by bringing out the message that in Mombasa, the quarantine will be paid for by the county government. That was the first thing.
Yes.
So the test will be paid for by the county government. Then 2 days later, he says, now there is a mass testing, because he had to correct that perception which was there. But he didn't manage, because it was a very short time in which he said what he said of the county government taking all the expenses and all that. But I think it is good for people to go to be tested. It is in order for us. But then we also must accept that something went wrong somewhere, somehow, and that is now what is affecting people. So we cannot just not blame Kenyans. Generally, I know it is difficult to people to accept that we made a mistake up and out, but that's okay. But we can also not blame Kenyans exclusively. So my people from Mombasa, lazima muende mupimwe na musipopimwa naona.
And on that note, that is Father Paul Otieno from Kisumu. Thank you so much. Keep safe. Keep washing your hands. You're talking to me without a mask, which is, thank God, we are separated by the internet. But anyway, very good point there. Very good point there. And thank you so much for readjusting, because we're having internet connectivity issues, aren't we? Yeah. So see you again on the A55 platform, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. God bless you all.
Yeah, you too.